Good morning, guys. Well, 7 a.m., July 30th. We are wrapping up the month of July. And man, it's kind of been a whirlwind month. I don't know about you, but it has gone by so quickly, as has summer. So here we are looking at school starting again. And of course, with school is all of the conversations around education, right? Good morning, Mr. Mark. Good to see you this morning. Um, I may touch on that this morning, but got a few things I want to bring to you. Let me just remind you that in the comments, reminders to check out the different platforms, share them, please. And there's the link to donate. We've been getting just great donations from everyone. I really appreciate all your support. Just put in an order for 100-yard signs yesterday. I'm going to pick them up today, and I'll bring them out to Watonga. So going to Watonga tomorrow. Looking forward to going out there. Several years ago now, my wife and I will be married 15 years coming up this December. And shortly after we got married, I was personal training full time, as well as an adjunct professor at Southwestern Christian University, teaching intro to Bible and intro to philosophy. But I was also training, pretty much full time as well. And I would go out 3 times a week to Watonga, Oklahoma, which was about an hour drive from where we lived. And I would do a boot camp 3 times a week and just got really embedded in that community, connected with the people of Watonga. And I'm still have very dear connections with that community. And then, of course, I was getting several people coming down from Fairview, Oklahoma. They asked me to go up north to do a boot camp up there. And I said, man, if you can get 30 committed people, I will make the extra drive to Fairview. We'll do a boot camp in Watonga, then I'll go up there and I'll do a boot camp in Fairview. And they came back next week and said, okay, we've got 30 women. So I said, all right, I'm a man of my word. So we drove up there. I kid you not, in this gymnasium in Fairview, there was over 100 ladies just eager to get a good workout in, change their lives. For us as a ministry, so we were pouring into them, and it was just a phenomenal time going to both Watonga and Fairview. Like I said, still very connected to the people out there. They're very dear to our hearts. So I'm looking forward to going to Watonga tomorrow. And if you're in the general area, please come out. Love to see you. Someone messaged me just a few weeks ago and said, hey, is it okay if we print bumper stickers and buttons and signs? They were from Watonga. And I said, that's incredible, of course. And just once again, it's so amazing to see this grassroots organic initiative to get behind a campaign that really is about the people first. And as proof, I'm not taking any money from lobbyists or PACs. I'm depending completely on the people. And I say this all the time. You'll know when I'm elected that I am committed only to God and the people of Oklahoma, that I've not been bought out. I'm not obligated to some industry. No, I'm obligated to the people who supported me and got me up there. That's my goal. That's my endeavor. That's what we're doing. And I will run this campaign uprightly and to the glory of God. It is fundamental, and that's something I want to highlight this morning. Good morning, Julie. Good to see you as well. Let me just play this clip. I shot this quick clip yesterday as we were pouring a foundation. I have a construction company. We do metal buildings, really all kinds of buildings, but this particular one is a barndominium up in Deer Creek. And after all of the rain delays, it's been so many delays, finally we're pouring the foundation, and we'll start framing it up this week. But yesterday, man, it's always exciting when you pour that foundation. And this was a pretty big building, 60 foot by 140 feet. And because of the delays, I said, man, we are going to get this right the first time. You can't re-pour concrete. You can, but it's going to be very costly. You're going to have to rip up the old. So we're going to do it right the first time. here is just a quick clip I shot yesterday. I intended to post it yesterday and time got away from me, but I wanted to bring it to you this morning. Well, I'm out here pouring a foundation this morning. So one of our jobs we're working on with Merrick Customized Construction, and we got a pretty big 60 foot by 140 foot. We got ICS concrete coatings. We're out there pouring the slab, and I thought it would be appropriate to jump on here and just talk about the foundation. So, of course, you know, the foundation is the most critical part of the whole building. I'm out here early on site while they're pouring to make sure that all of the details surrounding this foundation are right. We're not missing anything, that we have piers set, we have rebar set, because if the foundation is wrong, everything built on top of it is compromised. This, of course, is the focus when it comes to the campaign, when it comes to our nation, when it comes to the state. We must have a solid foundation. So, I mean, we all know this. We've heard it in a million sermons, and I felt like it was, having this visual. We're actually literally pouring a foundation, and it was such a poignant reminder of what we are saying on a daily basis, and where we're at as a nation, where we're at as a people. With this whole thing with Ryan Walters here in Oklahoma, I'm not going to get into the details of this, because the fact is we don't know the details. And many people have asked me to comment on it, and I am refraining, because why? Why are we going to sit back and speculate? There's an ongoing investigation. Let's let the investigation play out. Then let's make a decision based on facts. I've reached out to Ryan Walters and told him I was praying for him. I reached out to Tommy Johnson's office, let him know I'm praying for them. And I did, actually. That's a key thing, right? To not just tell people we're praying for them, but to actually pray. And so we must pray in all situations, all circumstances, but pray for our leaders. Pray for those that we have elected to represent us. We must say this in the right way. We're not just praying for we're not praying for rulers, we're praying for our representatives. And we're praying for this investigation. We're praying for the truth to come to light. We're praying for justice as well as mercy. So all of that, not going to get into the details of the story until we know all the details. I think that just makes sense. There's so much speculation out there, so much emotion, threads and threads and threads of comments on things, when all of the details are unknown. And yeah, I think there's guilt on both sides with the tendency to be so quick to say something. Everybody wants to have that first click. Sometimes you have to wait. You have to wait for the facts, but you've got to pour the right foundation. You've got to build on something solid that is right. I'm telling you, it's right here in front of me. I keep the word of God in front of me. I'm wearing this shirt this morning. Just scroll down here a little bit. It is my CrossFit Level 1 shirt. When I did the Murph the other day, the Murph is a crazy intense workout that's done every Memorial Day. And there was a soldier, Chris Murphy, who did this workout on a routine basis. And whenever he died, and following his death, this workout was done in his remembrance on Memorial Day. And of course, to remember all lives that were lost, everyone who sacrificed. But the workout is run 1 mile, do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then run another mile. It's pretty intense. And so you're right, Mark. Thank you for that reminder. Michael Murphy, not Chris Murphy. So I wore this t-shirt the other day to a CrossFit gym where I was invited to do this workout with them. And, those in the know, those in CrossFit back in the day, when CrossFit was the original CrossFit, then when you got your level 1 certification, I believe there was 3 levels of certification, maybe beyond, but I think there was some more specific certs you could get. But I did a level 1. Yeah, Mark, I think you're right. Chris Murphy played for the Rangers. I did my level 1 certification, owned a cross training gym. We weren't a specific CrossFit affiliate, but a cross training gym where we did a lot of what they call WODs, workouts of the day. And I went ahead and got my level 1 certification with CrossFit. They give me this t-shirt. So everyone who has a level 1 certification gets one of these t-shirts. I wore this to the workout the other day, and those in the know, those who've been in CrossFit for years now, they were like, you got one of those shirts. I got one too. Of course, there's just a few people who have them. And I wore it this morning as I'm thinking about Watanga that I mentioned. I'm going out to Watanga tomorrow to do a meet and greet, a little small town hall. I say small, it's probably going to be pretty packed. We're going to do a town hall out there, and I'm going to get to reconnect with a lot of ladies that went through my boot camp years ago. And just thinking about the foundation that we're building on, thinking about what are the foundations? Well, one of those foundations is the foundation of health, but more specifically, the foundation of discipline. So whether you're talking about the discipline of reading and meditating on truth, or the discipline, the very hard discipline of eating right and denying yourself the processed food that is readily available and actually acts like a drug in our system. That's why it's so hard to refuse. When you go into a gas station, man, you're pulled from every angle to whether it's something to drink or something to eat, but all of it's processed. All of it will spike your glucose levels, make you feel good temporarily. It's all sugar and caffeine and fat and salt. And that's the food industry, the quote unquote food industry that is literally killing us. And we are a nation that is addicted to these processed products. I don't like to even call them food, but processed products. And it requires extreme discipline to not go there, and instead to do the thing that is good, even though it might not taste as good or be as immediately satisfying. It is what's right. It is what your body needs. I always say the first step in protecting your freedom is protecting your health. How can you protect your family or your property or yourself if you're laid upon your back? Okay, we must invest in our personal health, but this isn't some push for a fitness program or anything. I'm not selling anything today. It's just a reminder of the foundations, which I believe as a culture we are returning back to. Thank God for individuals like President Trump, like RFK Jr., that I believe God is using to loosen things up, to shift our culture, to remind us of what is important, to do the hard things, to do the right things, the necessary things to get back on solid ground. We've been on shifting sand for so long that we've adapted to it, and we think it's normal. And we're like, oh yeah, no, it shifts a little bit. That's okay. No, it's not okay. We need to be on solid ground. We've just become accustomed to going to the doctor all the time, to getting on medication. Like, what medication are you on? We just assume everybody's on something. Well, I'm not on anything. And hey, and that's not to condemn anybody who is on medication. It's just that we have to challenge this as the norm. It's not the norm. It should not be the norm. We need to get back to what true health is really about. And I'm talking about health across the board. Physical health, mental health, spiritual health, family health, relational health, community health. So it touches every aspect of your life and everybody that you touch. We need to get back to the foundation. And again, this is a reminder. I think that whenever you invest in your physical health, it's one of those, what they call keystone habits. There are certain habits that whenever you change it, it impacts many other areas in your life. So, for instance, whenever you commit to a workout program, well, that's going to impact what time you go to bed, what time you wake up, what you eat for breakfast, what you eat for lunch and dinner. So that one decision to do a workout program is now impacting all of these other areas in your life. It's going to impact the friends you hang around, the types of podcasts you're listening to. And then you're going to be thinking about, okay, how do I get better in other areas? And you're going to be thinking about your internal health. Maybe I'm more than a body. Maybe there's life beyond the grave. Maybe I should start thinking about that. And so you start investing in other areas of your life. So physical fitness is one of those keystone habits that changes really your whole life. And that's why for me, for so many years, it was an amazing ministry. People came in for physical transformation, and I helped them achieve total transformation. Saw marriages restored. I saw marriages happen to get into healthy relationships. I saw people avoid surgery, get off medication, have just a better sense of wholeness and wellness. I've seen people get saved, and I baptized them. So, I mean, it was an incredible ministry. I love it. And I'm excited about this new wave going across the state and right here in Oklahoma, the MAHA movement, where, sorry, I checked with the comments there. Health is once again a priority. And I am riding this wave hard. We're about to do some big things to encourage this across the state. And to your point, Maya said, if the government would make holistic care paid for by insurance, yes. I want to look at that. My caution there is how we've seen the medical community corrupted by insurance. And my fear is if holistic care is covered by insurance, will it then be corrupted as well and become unaffordable unless you have insurance? And maybe people are saying, well, it already is. And to your point, I agree, it is expensive. But I'm just wondering if it just skyrockets through the roof if we now get insurance involved. Personally, I started years ago a nonprofit called Paraclete that I believe in tremendously and working on growing it still. But I set it up as an alternative insurance for services that traditional insurance doesn't cover, like personal training, nutritional counseling, therapeutic massage, chiropractic, all kinds of stuff like that. And I set it up because people come in to get personal training who really needed it, but couldn't afford it at 50, 60, 70 bucks a pop. And so you start adding in 3-4 sessions a week and it becomes very unaffordable very quickly. So I wanted this to be available to more people. That's why I set this up. And I think there are ways to do this outside of government. And that's always my default is how do we solve this at the most local level? How do we do it without growing government and without raising taxes? So let's do that first. How do we address these holistic solutions without getting the government involved? That's where I like to start. And here's the thing. We saw through COVID this massive effort to grow their own food. A lot of backyard gardens started, a lot of people getting a few chickens in their backyard and making some attempts to grow their own food, to eat local. And we have to, I constantly encourage this, to eat local, get connected to your local farmers and ranchers, grow your own food if you can, where you can avoid pesticides and all the chemicals involved there. And you can grow really good food. We have a great garden out there. We just harvested, still harvesting. We got to dig up all the potatoes now. Now that it hasn't rained in a couple of weeks, man, that ground is hard. So looking forward to that. But have a great garden. We're growing it still, even with a pretty big garden, we're still not self-sustaining. And it is, I believe what we need as part of this, and man, in keeping with this CrossFit theme, is community. That we need to rebuild our local communities again. And with that, we have crop sharing. We have this sharing of produce. We've been a part of these kinds of co-ops before, where so many people grow certain fruits and vegetables and others grow others, and there's this rotation, this mutual sharing, and everybody benefits from it, and that's a beautiful thing. But yes, Chris and Stephanie Davis on there, saying they love the comment, how can we do this without government? I think and here's the thing, it can be done. I just went to Tampa to visit a church out there. And one of the incredible things I saw was this 5-acre garden they recently invested in as a church. It was basically just swampland, and they brought in new soil. They invested a ton of money into it, and it's a massive budget just to maintain it. But they call it Eden. It is a beautiful garden that they use to actually feed their own people and then sell to the broader community. Man, we need more of that. What would happen if local communities and local churches got together and created Edens in their own communities to serve their people, to deal with these food deserts? That is the answer. And I believe that is where true health can be found in so many areas. Not only better food to create better health, but then better community. That's the direction I want to see things go. At the end of the day, if everything's been tried and there's still a gap, okay, let's talk about how government can possibly intervene. But as a last resort, I say this everywhere I go, we cannot talk about lowering taxes and tax reform while at the same time calling on government to do more for us. That is growing government, and you cannot grow government and lower taxes at the same time. Government will be there to do anything for you. They'll just charge you for it via taxes. So we must push, I want to push to lower that tax burden, to end property tax. Of course, like I've said before, I would love to move to a straight consumption tax at the register. I think it's fair. I think it is voluntary. Well, I know it's voluntary. You pay taxes as you buy things. It wouldn't be applied to essentials, groceries. But I love that model. In the meantime, I want to push to end property tax, which I believe is absolute theft, and reducing the other tax burdens as much as possible. But that's only possible if we stop growing government, and we can only stop growing government if we become self-sufficient, which is freedom. It's what the flag is all about. It's what this whole thing is all about, is promoting freedom. Freedom is only possible where there is self-governance and self-discipline. So I get up every morning. I get up personally, whatever works for you. But for me, it's early in the morning. I got to get up, get my workout done early, get in the Word, get some other things done before the day starts. Exercise is daily discipline. There's other areas where I still need more discipline, but it is critical. I love David Goggins and his mantra of do hard things. And I think about that. He's pretty vulgar. He likes to drop the F-bombs, but man, he says it like it is, and he says do hard things. Man, we got to get back to that mentality of, I'm gonna do it whether I feel like it or not. And that involves your marriage, that involves your children, doing it when you're tired, doing it when you really don't want to, giving your wife that back massage. Come on, husbands. Heard all that. Ooh, I just heard the loud chorus of women give a hallelujah there. Hey, you got to give those foot rubs. You got to give those back rubs. Invest in your marriage, even when you're tired. Even when you're tired. Invest in your children. Read that book when you tuck them into bed, even when you're tired. Pray with them, even when you're tired. There's grace for it. There is grace for it. Praise God. Well, I am getting wound up, and I know I could be on here for a while, but I do have to go meet a guy delivering gravel to another one of our projects. So try to get a lot of this construction done in the morning time. I got to go check on that foundation that they poured yesterday, make sure that's right. Got to go see the gravel guy delivering some gravel for a road. We're helping Redbud Farm School. Go check that out. Redbud Farm School. It is a great example of an independent school that is doing things outside the box. I love to be a part of that. We're building a new building for them, and they've just been tremendous. What I want to do a fundraiser for them. They're investing a ton of money in this expansion because people are flocking to them saying, we want an alternative. They're providing something different, something fresh. They're strong Christians, strong conservatives. And big shout out to Aaron and David, the owners there, and Redbud Farm School. Go check them out. I haven't even checked to see if there's a way to donate to them, but if there is, you should donate to them. I was going to ask for a donation for my campaign. I'd love to obviously have some donations, but man, if there's a way to donate to them, do that first, okay? Because this is an incredible school that's doing it the right way. I'm thinking about honestly trying to organize a fundraiser just for them, because I want to see things like that replicated across the state. That is the answer. That is the answer to so many of our problems, are these independent free market solutions. This is a solution to education. There's also solutions to health, to mental health. I mean, the solutions are in you, the people, in us. That's where the solution is found. So check it out. Redbud Farm School. Donate if you can. But I've got to get out there and make sure the gravel guy is putting the gravel in the right spot. So, hey, God bless you guys. Always good to see you in the mornings, and appreciate all your comments. Send me your emails. Here's another one, Mark. For some reason, my email, jake@jakemerrickforgovernor.com. I'm not getting some emails, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But what I do know is info@jakemerrickforgovernor.com is working. So you can send an email to me there, info@jakemerrickforgovernor.com. Also, of course, check out my website, jakemerrickforgovernor.com. I'm dropping a new podcast this morning, the Jake for the State podcast. It's the update with the Woolley family out in Wagner County with their grandson that they haven't seen in 7 years. So this is an update on their situation. They're fighting DHS. They're exposing corruption. I'm all about it. So we're going to get an update from them on this new podcast I'm releasing today. Also check out Drill Baby Drill, my last show, where I'm also exposing corruption with DHS. So go check all those out. Appreciate you guys. You'll have a beautiful day. We'll see you.